My Own Terms bonus content. The trip with Suraph was there.
Is that the title?
I don't know. What do we
This
call it?
this is a bonus episode of On My Own Terms, where we're talking about my recent first ever trip to Disneyland.
But this wasn't your first trip to Disneyland.
No, I'm saying it as if I was you.
Oh, okay. But people are going to know that you're not
You're-
me.
I know, but you're the one saying it. So
Oh, okay. All right.
yeah.
All right.
So start over,
Okay.
delete this, and go from there.
What's up, everybody? Bad Gamer popping back in. Hey, guess what? This is a bonus content deal. We're discussing with Suraph my first ever trip to Disneyland, and you're probably wondering, well, why is Suraph part of this? Well, as you probably know, Suraph, if you listened to the last episode, that it was the Good Vibes voice. Suraph is a Disney content creator from way back. But not only that, I got to see Suraph while at Disneyland. I was so excited.
Not just once, but twice.
Yeah.
Actually, that was the surprising part. We had one time planned.
Yes.
And then the second time was more impromptu. But it worked out.
Yeah, it worked out really nice. And it was such a cool deal to have Suraph there because he knew the parks. Like, he knew where to go, what to do. And so I broke away from my family a little bit, and my family said, "Yeah, go away, please, please go away." And Suraph,
we need time without you.
Yes, go away. You're a bit extra. And Suraph was like, "Yeah, I get it. I get it. I'll take him. I'll take him away." So Uncle Suraph took Lem away so Mom could get some quiet time.
I doubt that's what Anti-Gamer got, but
Yeah.
quieter.
Yeah, quieter and definitely calmer. Definitely calmer.
Definitely.
Um,
But actually, just to jump off there, we had a time scheduled, but we actually ran into each other in the park accidentally in advance. Now, I respected his family time, and it was like, I'll say hi and introduce myself, and then I'll head away. But Boba Fett was there when that happened.
Yeah, it was really cool. I was just talking to Boba Fett and his handler, and I went up to Boba. I wanted to get a photo, and then I had a book out because I had my Disney Infinity Boba Fett with me, and I was going to get him to sign the book, and the handler's like, "Oh, he's not doing signatures," and I was like, "Okay, no problem." He didn't say that out loud, but just gave me the little no signature. Like, okay,
right,
cool, not a problem. So we'll get pictures, and then I turned around, and there's Suraph. I was like, "Wait, what?" And he got a big old all caps hug.
Sure did. Couldn't breathe. It was good.
That's how I hug. For those that might be new to the podcast and new to the community, I do hug in all caps. So if we ever meet, expect one of those. If you so choose to get a hug.
Yes, it's always consensual.
Yes, Suraph did not get the choice.
No, but that's okay. I consented anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, why don't we talk a little bit about the trip? What was the point of the trip in the first place? Obviously, it was your first time, but what prompted you going out there?
I had a milestone birthday. I will let all of you guess what the milestone was, but it was a milestone birthday, and my family said
35.
35. It was 35 again. What's great about how I found out I was going to Disney is that my family told me using Disney Dreamlight Valley. My middle kid set up a puzzle in Disney Dreamlight Valley, and I figured out the code, the codex or the cipher, and it spelled out using different items, we're going to Disney. And I was like, no way. They're like, yeah, we're going to take you for your birthday. And so it was monumental. It was influential. I had a great time. The TDLR, TDL, TLDR, TLDR.
Yeah, there you go.
The TLDR was, I had a freaking dope time. That's if you're wondering, did I enjoy it? The answer is absolutely.
Yeah, that's the quick one. You can now turn off the podcast. We're done. There's nothing more. I find it interesting that this was your first trip because, like, obviously you've been doing Disney Dreamlight Valley recently, but Disney has been a big part of your streaming for a long time. Like, got the start with Disney Infinity, obviously.
Yep, absolutely.
And then you've done other Disney titles. Now, in recent years, you've been doing more like Guild Wars and heck, even go back to like Overwatch and stuff. But Disney's always been part of the Bad Gamer Gametographer brand.
Yes. I can think of, we had Disney Infinity, Disney Fantasia, Music Evolved.
Right.
Disney Universe. We did some Tron stuff. Disney's been all over the place in what we do.
Well, you did some Spider-Man as well.
Yeah. Yep. Spider-Man,
which is technically Disney.
Avengers.
Avengers. We talked about it on the regular episodes of the podcast, but that was such a missed opportunity of a game. The story is fantastic.
Yeah.
It's too bad it got saddled with all the live service nonsense that dragged it down.
Yeah. That was what made that's what endeared Ms. Marvel to me, was that game.
Great character.
Yeah. That game. But didn't see her at the park. I'm not sure if she's ever there. But we did get around to all kinds of stuff over there.
Yeah, they rotate the Marvel characters a lot because there are a lot of Marvel characters, and they have a couple who are like always there. Guys like Doctor Strange, Black Panther, Captain America, whether that's Sam or Steve. Characters like that. I think Ant-Man and the Wasp are normally around, but then they rotate the others, and it's normally based on who's got a TV show. So I bet if we went in like a couple weeks, you might see Daredevil over there. Oh
yeah, that's true.
Maybe White Tiger, characters like that. Maybe even like She-Hulk. I don't know if she's going to guest shot in the current Daredevil series, but there's decent shot that she will.
Yeah.
I know there's a couple other characters who are likely to have cameos, and you could expect they'll probably at the parks too. So,
do you know if they ever had Agatha?
That is a good question, and I don't think they did. Now they've had the Witch, they've had Scarlet Witch,
right?
But I'm not sure if they've ever had Agatha, and I think that might be more because Agatha doesn't have a costume per se.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, the Dora Milaje they had, and I was so excited to see them.
Oh yeah, they escort the Panther around for sure. Now, question for you: when you saw the Panther, was it T'Challa or was it his sister?
It was T'Challa. Shuri was. Yeah. I don't think Shuri was around. Well, she might have been around when I was there, but I didn't see her. I got to see T'Challa during the Avengers kind of stage stunt fight deal thing. And he actually, because I had the Panther Disney Infinity figure in my hand, and he actually noticed it from up on the thing. He pointed at me and gave me a Wakanda Forever. Dude, I geeked out. The Dora Milaje also kind of like gave me head nods, eye contact.
But on the other hand, you met Goofy, and Goofy did Wakanda Forever, and it completely went over your head until I pointed it out.
Yeah, I was like, "Oh snap, let's go!" Oh yeah, so that was one thing that I really appreciated about walking the park with you. With my family, my kids were very much, I want to go here, I want to go there, we want to go, we want to ride this, we want to do that, and I just really appreciated the fact that you were like, what do you want to do? Do you want to ride rides? Do you want to walk around? Do you just want to take pictures? What do you want to do? And that was one of the coolest things that I did there. Just walk around, take some photos.
It's the difference between being on your first trip and having been there a few times, I think, because like I've done all the rides. The only rides I hadn't done were like the ones that had popped up since the last time I went, which was before COVID, so 5 or 6 years. But yeah, I didn't have that urgency of like, I gotta go and do the Millennium Falcon. I gotta go and do Rise of the Resistance or, Spider-Man or whatever.
Yeah.
I could be like, I'm going to do the rides that have a low wait time. And I'm just going to chill. But, this was your first trip, I presume also for your kids and your wife, given proximity. So there's definitely that, like, got to do everything, got to take advantage of the ship, got to do all the things that we want to do because, you might not go back. It might be a long time before you go back. It's a different attitude, but I understand it. That's what most people are going to have when they go to the parks, of course. But yeah, it's for me, it was a nice little return. I needed it. 2025 has been a tough year, so it was just kind of like a nice escape and just being able to walk the parks and point things out and be like, oh yeah, don't forget to look up.
Yes.
Like that. That's my note. If you want to take anything away from the podcast, dear listener, that is my advice. When you're at the parks, look up because there are details everywhere and people do not look up and they miss them.
Absolutely. I told my son that, and we just started looking up. We're like, oh man, look at that. Oh man, like when we went to Haunted Mansion, because I think you had mentioned to me before to look up or look around at least before we went, and so I was like, all right guys, remember just look around, and we looked up in the Haunted Mansion, just the gift shop, and we were like, whoa, look at the cat up there, look at the jade, like we were walking around in where is the Jungle Cruise? Is that Adventureland?
Frontierland.
Frontierland. Okay, yeah. Okay, so Frontierland. And they have this jade elephant or crystal elephant that's up there. And we were like, oh, look at that. That's really cool. And so we were just trying to take it all in. And one of the things I plan on doing is in the photos that I've taken, zooming in. And just zooming in and seeing what I can see in those photos. What did I miss? Because I was taking a photo.
Right, of course.
So yeah, I again, one of my favorite things was walking around, and I got to do that a little bit more with my middle kid, when we went to California Adventure. Everybody was together in Disneyland. But in California Adventure, it was just us in the morning, and we took it relatively slow. We actually stopped because we were waiting to do rides with everybody else. We stopped for a good 3-4 minutes just in the spot where the Brother Bear statue is, and we took our time. We looked at the statue. We looked around, and it was so awesome.
Yeah, because one of the things that does separate the Disney parks from a lot of other theme parks, not everyone, but most of them, is that attention to detail. There's things everywhere in the park to see, and that they have people whose job it is just to put these details in for people to find.
Yeah.
So, speaking of the park, so you let's see, you spent what, 3 full days at the parks, or
we had a day in Disneyland, a day in California Adventure, and a day, 3 hours, and a night at Disneyland for 90s night.
That's right, and we were hoping that you would find Powerline, but he unfortunately did not show up.
Well,
which is too bad.
Yeah, he was there. We just missed him.
Gotcha. That makes more sense.
Yeah, we missed him.
So, seeing as this was your first time, you probably went in with certain expectations, certain rides that you thought were going to be your big ones, or ones that you weren't going to be into. I happen to know that you weren't too excited about doing the Haunted Mansion.
No, I was
instance.
not.
No, but your kids dragged you onto it. My understanding.
Yeah.
Not that one specifically. I'm not calling it out specifically, but were there any rides that surprised you that you thought you weren't going to enjoy and you're like, oh wow, this was actually really good. I'm glad I went on this.
Well, there's one that I didn't know existed that I really loved.
Which one was that?
That was the Whirlwind of Emotion.
Whirlwind of them. Oh wow.
The Inside
Yeah.
Out. Like,
Yeah.
it was just a nice. It's a kid's ride. Don't get me wrong, it's a kid's ride, but it was just nice to sit with my kid in this simple ride that goes up and around, and they have funny jokes that are going on with the Inside Out characters, and it was just like the joy that I got from that ride. I think I have a video of me on the ride, and it's probably going to our patrons, because this is just like we're just kind of doing a quick recap. I've got plans for a blog or vlog for our patrons, with video and photos and all that stuff. But I was just smiling ear to ear on that ride, and I can't explain why. Maybe it was just like a childlike joy of this simple ride.
There is that aspect to Disney, isn't it? Like when you're talking about it, and if you've never been on these rides, it sounds like you just got two weird adults talking about these stupid things, and why would they ever possibly enjoy it? But honestly, when you're in the parks, there is a completely different atmosphere there. The way I describe it is, you'll see little old grandma just toting around. She's got her Mickey ears on, and she's got her and she's just having a great time. And you either have to make the choice to go like, yeah, I'm just going to enjoy my time here, and I'm going to embrace the inner kid, or I'm going to be cynical and tut everything. And
yeah,
the latter doesn't last very long.
Not at all. Not at all.
But I get it though. There are rides there where, especially as an adult, you're like, oh, this is silly. Like Figment, which is down in Disney World, not in Land. But I think the ride you were talking about actually might have replaced it in Land. But it's such a silly ride. It's just you do the five senses, and you get a little room with each sense, and there's a dragon that escorts you through, and you're just like, this ride's stupid. But no, it's actually really fun. It's actually just enjoyable as long as you let go of the cynicism for a little while.
Yeah. We had an instance with Disney with Mickey's Runaway Railway.
Yeah.
We got stuck on that ride.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the thing. We started playing I Spy with the strangers behind us.
Yeah.
It's like that, you talk about the atmosphere. This mom, her teenage daughter, and her like preteen daughter are in the car behind us, and we're seeing all these little details. And then the little girl says, "I spy," and so she's something pink, and I said, and the mom is guessing, and the other older daughter's guessing, and I say, "Is it that stripe on the flag over there?" And she's like, "Yeah." And so I said, "Okay, I spy," and it was just so cool. We don't know these people.
Yep, I have definitely made like single ride friends before at Disney, where whether it's waiting in line, because sometimes you wait in line for a long time and you're standing next to this person, you're just like, we're gonna talk or whatever, and then you never see him again. But it's still a fond memory for me. I hope it is for them. I hope that it is for this family that you were on the ride with.
Yeah.
That does remind me. I told you about a time when I got stuck on Pirates of the Caribbean for a solid 50 minutes. I'm curious. I have to follow up on this. Did you go on Pirates, and did you find this part where I was stuck?
Yes. Yeah. And it went through my mind, and we did go on Pirates. We went that one during 90s night. Which reminds me of Single Ride Friends. This group came in. It was a group of 5 people came in. And they were 90s out, like all the funky angular designs on their clothes and all the bright neon color type stuff. And we were like, oh, snap. I was, and I was like, your outfits are on point. And they were like, what about you? Where's your outfit? I was like, look, I've got my X-Men 97 jacket on. I've got my Pokemon Pikachu 90s. I've got my my Zazu on my shoulder 90s. They were like, oh, okay, I see you. And I saw them again later in 90s, and I was like, you guys, this is awesome. They were like, yeah, it's so good. The next day in California Adventure, I ran into him again, and we just started talking. And I was like, you know what? Hi, I'm Lem, and got to know him. And all of them are Disney employees from Florida, and they were, and so we started talking about them and about what they do. And I was like, you guys, this is just amazing, and thank you for, just this little interaction. This little interaction made my trip even better because now I've made these friends. Surf was there. We made a Disney Lorcana friend.
That's true. Yeah, he informed us of stuff.
Yeah.
Apparently, you got a pretty decent card out of one of the packs you got there too. Which
yeah.
I have no idea. Sure, sounds right to me.
So yeah. So all in all, I think is great. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's also worth mentioning that Disney can be a bit of a controversial company at times because they are corporate. They're very corporate.
Right.
But you encounter these people, the people who work for Disney. And I would say it's more in Florida than in California, but you can definitely find them in California too. The employees make it worth going because they really do tend to buy into it. They are there to make people's experiences fantastic. So no matter what you think of Disney as a company, and there's more than enough to talk about that in an entire podcast or 5, but the parks are a whole different beast.
Yeah.
And that's why I will typically defend them even when Disney itself might be doing things I don't agree with. But I've had so many experiences with park employees. I've heard stories of people with their park employees. You can find all sorts of ones like especially the cast, the Mickeys, the Goofies, the T'Challas and stuff like that. Yeah. You'll hear all sorts of stories about how they make extra time for the kid who needs it, and they try to keep the lines moving for the photographs, the signatures, and so on. But when it's very clear that this is this person's favorite character, they came to Disneyland to see Chip and Dale or Goofy or whoever, they will make sure it's like, no, the kid gets some time, and they do that extra thing. And of course, you always see the viral videos of like a deaf kid coming up and Princess Aurora will start signing with them or things like that.
Yeah.
They do their best to make it a special occasion for a park. And it doesn't have to be kids. They'll do it for adults too.
Yeah. I have several stories about that. Mm-hmm. We're not going to get into it here, but several stories that they have changed how I'm going to be doing things, not only in the podcast and the stream, but like at my regular day at work. So I'm excited for it.
Yeah, and I definitely would agree with that. But we're trying to keep this short. We've already gone for quite a bit here. I do want to ask maybe one or two final questions though here. So sure. I already asked what was the ride that surprised you, but what ride, regardless of what you thought going into it, really stood out to you? Other than the one you already mentioned, even if that would be your answer.
I would say the second thing that stood out to me that I was like, oh my gosh, I love this thing, was the Guardians of the Galaxy, the Breakout.
I thought you weren't really going to like that one, but yeah, it's an interesting ride.
Dude, like you mentioned to me that you get different scenes and or different music when you ride that ride.
Yes, absolutely.
And I could not have... My kids went on it twice. I went on it once. I could not have gotten a better song. I got Jackson 5, I Want You Back.
Yep.
And the whole ride, as soon as the song started, just whoa! That's the excitement from that song. Like, my kids went on and they got a different song, and they said it wasn't as good. That song was the song for us. And it, dude, like every little up and down, and it was so good.
Yeah, so for those of you who don't know, the Guardians of the Galaxy ride at Disneyland was formerly the Tower of Terror. And the big hook for the ride is that it's different every time you ride it. It's on a randomized track. It drops you up, or it throws you up and drops you down, but the pattern is always different. And when they updated it from the Tower of Terror to the Guardians of the Galaxy, they added in clips from that they created specifically for the ride. So it's not from the movies specifically, but it's always different. You might see like an individual clip that's the same, but the mixture is always different. There's never any two rides. And yeah, it can be highly variable. I've done it both in the Tower of Terror and Guardians of the Galaxy probably dozens of times because I had a friend who was obsessed with that ride and would drag me on it. There was one time we rode on it 11 times back to back.
What?
This was like the first week of December, back when there was actually like a slow season at Disney. The ride time was like 5 minutes, so we would get off the ride and we would just go right back in. But anyway, I 100%. There are times when that ride is amazing, and there are times when that ride is like, oh yeah, it was kind of fun.
Yeah,
it was enjoyable. I'm glad that you got a good one though.
Yeah.
Because it does make a difference, and it is a good ride. And we both love the Guardians of the Galaxy, so there's that as well. But yeah, I think that wraps up the majority of the trip. Obviously, there's still stories to tell, but I think people will want to watch you stream because they're going to come out naturally during your streaming.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially since you're doing a lot of Disney Dreamlight Valley. This isn't a story per se, but I thought was a great idea, so I'm going to highlight it. BG, when he was getting signatures, he had a signature book, as people do, but also he mentioned Lorcana cards, and he actually taped Lorcana cards into the pages. So where Goofy signed, there's a Goofy Lorcana card right next to it. And I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
I think that's a good idea. So I might steal that in the future, to be honest. And I encourage other people to as well.
Absolutely, guys. And if you do that, please show it to us. Tag me, Bad Gamer. I'm Bad Gamer Elite on almost all socials, and Surf is nothing on any socials. So I will
I'm on Blue Sky.
Okay, Blue Sky. All right.
I'll point that out. But I am Surf. With a U.
So yeah, I mean, tag us. Let us know. I would love to see your Disney photos, and let me know in comments or in chat. Tell us your Disney story. What is the one thing that happened for you at Disney that you're like, wow, this was amazing? I want your Disney wow story.
And I would also say it might not be a wow story, but I want to hear about your single ride friends, the people that you befriended in either you got stuck on a ride like BG did, or you were standing in line for an hour and a half for the Jungle Cruise and you were just chatting with the people around you. Things like that. Because they're very interesting stories, and I think most people have them. So I think we'll wrap it up there. But BG, I hope you get a chance to do another Disney adventure, or heck, a Universal adventure, or Busch Gardens. Busch Gardens, I highly recommend. Incidentally, it's fantastic.
Is this going to be a thing where I have to go on?
I'd love for it to be. I mean, I doubt your family would be highly disappointed if you were like, every year we're going to a theme park. Sure. I will say, however, being from Colorado myself right now, that's where I live at the moment. There are absolutely no theme parks worth going to in Colorado at all. So I will happily go to other parts of the country to meet up with you for other theme parks.
I like it. This might be a thing. I don't know. Maybe
it'd be great.
Might be. Well, thanks everybody for listening. Thanks for hanging out. And as they say, what were we talking about again?